Hello everyone, so Truth Talk is back with some positions Stockfish can't solve. Well, at least Stockfish 11 and 12. Yeah, so if you want, pause the video, try to figure it out on your own. Now I'm going to speak about the position. So Stockfish 12 finds on depth 52, rook takes b4. That's what it thinks is the best move. It insists on this move, and even Stockfish 12, supported by neural networks, cannot solve this puzzle. Well, at least on depth 52, which is a really crazy depth, right? Okay. So, what's the key to the solution for humans? Well, first you have to notice that the king has no legal moves. And this pawn has no legal moves. And this is part and parcel of this king not having legal moves. So, these two components of the position have no legal moves. So, what remains is for somehow these three components of the position to just get out of the board, be jettisoned, move out of the way, and let the position be a stalemate. Now this is a composition, so one could think that maybe white can try to win, but you know, connected with these three pawns and this cute empty square, with these three pawns, it's going to be difficult to imagine a win. Now this is a composition, so now you have to try to imagine how you could win, for example, but you quickly notice these two knights are protecting each other, and the pawn is going to promote with checkmate even, so yeah, it becomes difficult to foresee a win. So you can think of forcing a draw, and the first thought that comes to mind is to simply jettison your rook. So you do that, and then you think, hey, let's jettison the pawn. And you do that. And you think, hey, let's jettison the bishop. And you do that. By the way, you cannot refuse this jettisoning, nor can you refuse this jettisoning, because if you don't take this rook, now actually white perhaps has winning chances. Actually, it might just be a winning position. And here you definitely cannot refuse with something like d6, because simply e7 and hello. And with the queen on the scene and this bishop controlling this promotion square, it's going to be an easy win for white. And king c8 as well is going to run into e7, and unfortunately your own pawn blocks access to this square. If it were this kind of variant where you can take your own pieces, it would be a different story, but it's not. So d takes e6 and bishop c7 check, and the game would immediately end if chess were checkers, but it's not. So king takes c7 and this is a stalemate, but of course black is not forced to take, and he can just move out of the way, they can just move out of the way and try to promote their pawns. But here white is insistent, please take my bishop, and it would be stalemate. But black refuses, he keeps going. And now it's important to notice here which diagonal you choose. You need to choose this diagonal because you need to confine this knight. If you move out of the way, the knight will breathe life. And when the knight breathes life, now there are checkmates looming with knight c2, which would be checkmate. Your king is permanently blocked, no way out of it. So this would be lost. So you have to maintain presence on this diagonal. And no matter what black does, you shall maintain presence on this diagonal. Even if the king takes, you don't care. As long as the knight is confined. You don't want to let the knight out on one of these two squares. Remember, a knight on this corner has only two squares. So, f4 can be tried. And now it's important, do not take, because the knight resurfaces. So bishop f2. e5, you keep going with the stalemating idea. And finally when h4 comes, it's very important to actually take the pawn, because if you don't, the knight breathes life. And why is this winning? Well, I'll show you. You try to take, of course black will not take because that would be stalemate. So he pushes, they push, and now the bishop goes back, keep pushing, and yeah, simply the position will be basically zugzwang, and the bishop will have to give itself up, not on a square where it wants to. So now it has to give itself up on d2, on c1, and this will actually be checkmate. So yeah, so returning back here, bishop takes h4 has to be played, and now very simple draw. You just keep going back and forth till eternity. And yeah, this is a surprising concept that Stockfish 12 misses at depth 52 at least. Yeah, and with that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you liked this. By the way, this is all from Vinvin's compilation, so please support Vinvin for his work. Alright guys, take care.